Hello YouTube fans, here again, and I think I'll do something different for the change, why not? But showing me box set of this, Buck Rogers and the 20th century. That's right, Buck Rogers and the 20th century. As I celebrating this man's birthday a few weeks ago, he inspired me to do this. And yes, somewhere along the road, I've even got the movie version of Buck Rogers, because I can put it in words. I've always been a big fan of Buck Rogers and the 20th century, so I figured without ado, why not talk about the TV series? And then one day around the road, I'll talk about Buck Rogers and the 20th century, the movie one. Well, in 1979 was a big hit for the movie version of Buck Rogers and the 20th century. And it was made on a tight budget, even though it was TV viewing, for theatrical release, and it was only the same day they decided, without showing the box set off again, of the TV show. And the TV show lasted a couple of days. It lasted about 1979, and then it went through to 1980, and then in 1981 they did the second one, which I've also got the box set off, and I'll also be reviewing that. This one's not really bad. I actually like the art cover. I do remember when they actually showed the reruns of this on TV. I also remember the little robot, mimic, made that funny noise. Always come out with foul language. I thought they had to keep it mild because it's TV viewing, which I do believe was a real life little person as the robot. Now, but people say, well, that's cool. Not really. Look at R2-D2. If you want to see something cool, watch Battlestar Galactica, where they use a chimpanzee as a robotic dog. That's cool. But this was a real actor dressed up as the robot. I also watched the TV series, why not? I'm on a rock and roller. So I'm not sure whether this one is the movie version. I've not seen them all there. I do know there's a theatrical release. That could be, or it could be not, the movie one. Then we've got the other series. They're all roughly the same. But yeah, duh. I meant to say Buck Rogers and the 20th century. Now, you've got a lot of well-known stars appearing in this. You may remember this little kid here, who's sadly no longer with us. You might remember him in The Cosby Show. As soon as he made a test appearance, and yes, I do know in real life, he wasn't a kid, but he was back then. Yeah, you might remember him in The Cosby Show, you know. Different Stokes, Cosby Show. Duh, that's a different show altogether. But me, that'd be a rant if I talk about that show. Yeah, Different Stokes. You might remember him as a little kid in Different Stokes, Cosby Show. Duh. But yeah, you might remember him in that. And a lot of other well-known actors who have appeared in this. If I do remember right there, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's right, Jamie Lee Curtis herself appeared in an episode of Buck Rogers and the 20th century. This was not long after she had a big break in Halloween. She actually thought at the time that's only going to be the only movie for her, so she appeared in a lot of TV shows. I mean, she appeared in The Love Boat, having a bid, and she also appeared in an episode of this. So it's been interesting to see a very long Jamie Lee Curtis in an episode of this. You know, it's only 1980s. He had the next big break being The Fog, 81, Halloween 2. I'm not going to go on. That's a different story for another day. But yeah, you had Jamie Lee Curtis in an episode of this. I always remember the movie one though. They always had that song in it. Levy and anything goes, we go. I can't do it. I'm killing the song. It also reminded me of a James Bond. You know the James Bond main tickets where you got a dude doing a sexy dance and all that. It reminds me of that where they told the story of Buck Rogers. He got knocked unconscious. He was frozen. It was based in 1987, even though the series came out in 79. And he's also gone Folsom, and he went all the way into the future. I always love the way it opens and it shows him out of it. And you get the I won't do the rest. But I always remember that opening. But I also remember the movie one where it shows it, he's lying there. You've got this beautiful lady here dancing all over him. And I also remember this actress. I always remember rightly, Jason Goes to Hell. If you don't know who she is, she's the one that gets stabbed in Jason Goes to Hell. She gets killed in it. That was her. And that was her big break. And I do also remember that she would wear some pretty befitting clothing. That's why the second series, it was a bit... because I think they tried to go anti-pandy in that one and cut down the thingy toes. And yeah. I do know that some people say it's a rip-off of Star Wars, same as Battlestar Galactica, same as all these cheap B sci-fi films around in that era. You could say that, yeah, it was a rip-off of Star Wars. But this was also taken of a comic book. There wasn't actually Buck Rogers back in the 1930s, believe it or not. Same as we had a Fast Gordon in the 1930s. It wasn't always the adult version or the version that we all remember which Queen sang to. It wasn't. We all know there was a 30s comic book of this. So there was a comic book of this, Buck Rogers and the 20th Century. But this one decided to go to more Star Wars. You had laser guns. You had a lot of other well-known actors. If I remember rightly, you had Chap Balance appear in one of these. It's one where a good episode where he's touching people and he could kill people by touching them. That was an episode with a very long Chap Balance. So you had a few well-known actors or actresses make an appearance in this. Some of it now's dated. You can kind of see why they've had reviews, but some of it is now hasn't dated well. But some of them, I like that. I'm a sucker for old sci-fi. I remember showing me 3 TV series. I remember one showing Battlestar, the original ones, the 70s ones. I love the 70s Battlestar Galactica. I could probably say the reasons why I like that. And you know, I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff. I'm a sucker for old sci-fi. I love old sci-fi. I love the fact that they make it look futuristic and you've got them with 70s looking tools. Same as Star Trek with the fucking minister and it's supposed to be in the future. But yeah, a few good episodes in this. Some of them, I've got to admit, hasn't fucking dated very well. But other episodes, I'm a sucker for. I love sci-fi. So yeah, I thought I'd show off my box set. Has it got any features? Not really. I imagine there's probably a biography. I would have done with, to be honest. I know, I'm being fussy here. But I would have loved to have maybe a bolder feature with the actor talking about his experience when he played Buck Rogers, what it was like working with her, the little guy, what it was like working with both of them. I know some of the actors are sadly no longer with us. I always love to see where he's on the ship and the ship goes and it fires out like that, which kind of reminds me of how it was done in Battlestar. Only I felt this was a lot more exciting. I like the battle fight scenes in it, where they're fighting with the laser ships, very Star Wars. So yeah, that's me showing off when I'm talking about sci-fi, my favourite TV series. I probably roughly around the world talk about series 2, that came out in 1981. I'll probably say my reasons why I'm a bit with that one, because I do think they softened it up a little bit from this one. But this one always been my favourite from 1979. That's Battlestar. I meant to say Buck Rogers. That's Buck Rogers in the 20th century. And yep, it's got six discs with it. I've already shown it. Very good series. I still love the series today. I love the iconic photo. I think it's very iconic. Put it to them. Be smart. Be safe. See you later.